you good?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get by Benning. Darnell Nurse left it in the corner, gets up center. Perry scores! Corey Perry!
Lilia able to shake away from Solani. It's given away to Solani. Around in front. Score! Teemu Solani with the steal.
And the fans want one. Score! Off the floor! On the board! Paul Kournianos!
Hey, everybody. It's Pat and Jason taking over the podcast tonight. We're back to talk about the Ducks' 7th straight loss at the hands of the almighty, all-powerful, and apparently unbeatable as of late Vegas Golden Knights. What's happening, Jay?
It's an all-American version. That seems fitting.
Oh, especially with that really unimportant game going on tomorrow.
Something about kids playing hockey, pond hockey,
Canada.
or something.
I don't know. No one cares about it anywhere else.
I just know Canada's not in it anymore. That's all I kind of heard about it. But apparently we're so good, we just keep winning.
Psych! I totally give a shit. I can't wait to watch it. Just I couldn't contain it any longer.
Yeah, sorry.
Pretty happy about that. And they haven't needed Jack Hughes, which is even more phenomenal. But
insane.
We've got plenty to talk about tonight. This game was very weird. Ducks falling here to the Knights, 3-2. At times, the Ducks looked like they could play, but for the most part, it was like Vegas was just like with a stick of catnip in front of a cat and just waving it constantly. The Ducks were just all over, chasing the damn stuff everywhere and unable to keep up, it seemed like. But Gibby getting the start in net, that's no surprise. Jake Dotchin and Ben Street with the scratches. So Ducks with a pretty, run-of-the-mill usual lineup here. Nothing crazy going on. You would expect to see Vegas come out and fly just because that's what they've been doing. It's like they haven't been a good team this season.
They were off to kind of a slow start. Much of the Pacific Division was off to a slow start. Ducks included, Sharks included, Vegas. I mean, the guys you thought were really going to kind of run out of the gate and still be something. We felt there would be a little bit of a pullback, after maybe about 15, 20 games, Vegas kind of righted the ship a little bit. You can almost kind of attribute that somehow to Nate Schmidt coming back in the lineup from him missing 20 games, but they also got a little punch in the arm today because Patches comes back. He's missed, I think 7 games. I think he missed 6 games earlier. Somewhere he's missed like 13 games of the first half of the season for Vegas. So they're kind of getting some of those players back, and they seem to be hitting their stride right now.
And strangely enough, they send down the AHL's leading scorer, Brandon Perry. Apparently, they don't need a guy who's just been scoring goals for them consistently in this lineup. So they send him down, which I don't know, thought was really odd there. But
yeah, it's a little odd. Former Duck player Perry, he's come in and he's done great. I mean, he's killing it in the AHL. I think Eddy was talking about him leading the AHL in scoring. Yes. He comes up here and you're like, all right, well, you can score down there, but how are you going to help us up here? And then he comes in and he helps score goals. And then put him back down. I think it's maybe more maneuvering around. I'm not quite sure.
It was to bring Patches up. They had to activate Patches off the off injured reserve or whatever, right?
So I'm sure it's a two-way thing where he can get sent down and probably wouldn't get picked off of waivers or something like that.
But you couldn't send anyone else down, which is strange. I mean, Peary had 6 goals, 3 assists in 7 games since he got called up December 19th. So you're talking a span of like 10 days, a little over 10 days, this guy's been killing it. But that's enough on Vegas. Let's talk about this first period. I always feel the Ducks don't look slow in most games, except when they play Vegas.
Full agreement. No, it's weird. Vegas just they bring out the slow in us. I don't know what it is. And I've seen, Vegas be Vegas a lot of the time. And then I've seen where they play and other teams have all of a sudden been able to adapt. The Kings have actually gotten a lot better playing against Vegas. And I wouldn't consider, the Kings at all a fast or good team this season. And somehow they're able to handle it. But yeah, whenever it's wave, it just seems like that they either come in with speed and beat us, they pull up, and then find an open guy, and then we're scrambling. Who are we going to cover? They find the random pass through the seam, and it's just like it doesn't matter what they really do. They just seem to have our number. We don't really seem to ever get a good game against Vegas. I thought this one wasn't too terrible, but the start didn't seem that way, especially the shot total that we started to go against.
Well, and if the Ducks didn't have enough to deal with already, that they're facing Vegas and they have to face a team that's hot right now. They were 7-1-1, and now they're 7-1-2, or they were 6-1-2 in their last 9. Now they're 7-1-2.
Yeah.
Vegas won. So the Ducks are trying to bounce back and break this losing streak. So that's enough to deal with. And then they got to deal with these referees off the bat in the first period. They decided they wanted to control the game. A lot of questionable calls in tonight's game, I feel like. Not that the Ducks didn't get quality chances on the power play. But let's talk about the beginning of this game in the first period. We can just kind of hop right to the first goal. On a delayed penalty call, Ondrej Kase is like oh my God. So Vegas is like controlling the puck, comes out of the zone. Marchessault, I think, like restarts the play. He exits the blue line.
Yeah.
Kase pokes the puck, kind of knocks the puck off of Marchessault's stick. It's like it had a chance to go into the empty net, but Vegas cleaned it up. Yeah. I've seen that called blown dead, where it's whatever. The Ducks touched it. They considered it control. Referees blow that call, I guess. You want to say it was mild, in my opinion. They let it go, whatever. Goes all the way back into the Ducks zone, and they're able to get a point shot through traffic. Gibby makes the save, a clean save right on, and he reaches out with his stick intentionally, swats the puck to the corner. How is that not a blown dead puck right there? I don't get it.
Hands up. I have no idea. I can't tell you exactly how that's not. The Kase one is a little bit different. There's also a second play in there where Kase, gets it with his stick, intercepts the pass, and kind of pokes it away. Now, he never gains full control. So, from my understanding, this is kind of a gray area, and it's up to the referee's discretion on whether or not they had control. Now, I've seen some refs, hey, you touch the puck, that's good enough for me. We're going to blow the play dead. Other guys like, no, you have to corral it or hold on to it and do that sort of deal. The Ducks did all of it. I mean, they tapped it. They pressured the guy with the puck almost so that he lost the puck by, actually tapping his stick or tacking on the puck. I can maybe let those ones slide because they're maybes. But the second it goes to Gibby, a direct shot, he saves it. In his mind, it's something where he can bring that stick around, pull the puck in, and cover it. But he's liable if he does that. He doesn't have, there's a possibility that if he's directing it towards the net, it slips through and somehow goes in, and then he looks horrible. If you take it and you shoot it to the corner, what you think is going to be the corner, that's possession. If a defenseman gets it, has it on his stick, and throws it to the corner, they blow the play dead. The fact that the goalie did it and they don't do it, and somehow it's, he didn't have possession, is like he corralled it. He did it. What's he going to do? Bring it into his feet and hope it doesn't go past him? I mean, that's possession. I don't understand why it wasn't called. That blew me away. And there was a lot of those plays where it was more of the refs' decision-making or how they felt about it that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Not necessarily that they didn't call penalties where they weren't penalties. It was just their decision-making on what their opinion was on it just seemed really odd this game.
I mean, in my opinion, puck possession is when you move the puck with intent.
Yeah.
Right? That's possession.
Yeah.
So, and he intentionally makes a save, swipes the puck to the corner. Unfortunately, it didn't matter. Referees were like, no, we didn't either. A, they didn't see it, or B, they didn't care to see it. And then Nate Schmidt's able to blast one through just a pile of bodies in front of John.
I have no idea how that does it.
No clue. He just does the standard butterfly and is like, oh, okay, that's where it is.
He's a little bit to the right because almost everyone's just slightly to his center left, and then it just finds a hole the entire way through of legs and sticks. It somehow doesn't hit. The Ducks defender is going down on one knee, somehow doesn't hit any of this stuff. It just goes left side. Gibby plays the percentages of like, listen, I don't see how that's going in, and if he can hit high, post it in, he gets it. And it's just kind of a weird play. But at the same time, I would be completely frustrated as he was. If you look when he makes the play and then they don't call it, he lifts up his glove. He's like, oh, what else do I have to do? Do I have to control it? Do I have to shoot it down to the other end, try for a goal before I'm going to get a call? That play should have never happened. That whole setup should have never happened. So it's frustrating. We end the way we do, and that's the first goal that kind of goes towards the final.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a rough call in hindsight, just because, like you said, when it comes to the final score here and the Ducks take the loss, Vegas just seemed much faster after that still. The Ducks couldn't really battle back until you're talking like it was under 7 minutes to go. They were at that point being outshot 11-2. And then they finally get a break in. Adam Henrique with basically a little bit of magic hands breaking in through the defensive zone there, or the offensive zone, and on Fleury, the nice backhand. Fleury's able to make the save. And then the only other real chance of remembrance to me was Carter Rowney's shot from the goal line. I think it hits Fleury and then hits Gibbons or somebody, hits the crossbar spinning, and then literally sits on top like a spin top would, like you would get, and just spin it right on the top and try to hold the line, like snapping your fingers. Is it gonna stay?
Come on.
Just spins,
Someone
go.
No. Blow it across the line. Come on.
Nothing.
Anything.
Everyone in the building, everyone in the house thought they scored. I had buddies at the game texting me, "That was in, right? They're not showing it. That was in." And then the worst part about it is we couldn't see an effing replay for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. He's just sitting there dying. But the only solace I took in that, because I was with everybody. Like, I saw it, the way that it moved, the way it looked like it bounced out. That hit the back. That dropped. That's in. I mean, it just ended up bouncing back out, and everyone's happy. Because the way Fleury just dropped his shoulders, he thought it was in. Everyone thought it was in. And the ref didn't call it a goal. He didn't call it no goal. He just kind of kept staring at the net. So he kind of had that like, well, did it? Because a lot of people seem to think it did. And then, the only solace I also took in it is that once it goes past like 30 seconds of play,
and the league has reviewed it.
If they don't, because they can call in and they'll shut the game down and go, no, go back. That went across the line. So the longer it goes after that initial time where they don't blow it dead, that's where you can kind of tell, all right, they reviewed it off ice in Toronto, and they're saying, nope, they never crossed the line. So the longer it went, the worse I felt about it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of games where it's happened like that, and it actually went in, and then the play goes back for like maybe 20, 30 seconds, and then quickly somebody down there, you hit the little horn real quick, like real loud. The whole arena horn goes off. Everyone's like, what the hell? They're alerting them, hey, dude, stop the game.
No, stop the game. Got to go back. We don't want anyone getting injured anymore. It's none of this is going to count.
So it was brutal, but unfortunately, it's the way it goes. The Ducks outshot that period heavily. I want to say it was total of, I think it was 16-5 at the end of the first period. Or 17. No, 17-6.
Yeah, I thought the Ducks
final that shot was. That wasn't go. They had 6. I know. I didn't want to take
it. Don't take that one shot away from us.
But the Ducks in the second period get a break. They end up getting on a power play, end up drawing a penalty. Vegas takes the call there. They get good zone control. This is one way you can stop a fast team. No one can outskate the puck. You get taught that in Pee Wee hockey and younger, right? Mite hockey, 8-year-olds get taught that. My daughter got taught that. Pass the puck. We're always going to outskate guys. Vegas has a very ultra-aggressive team. The Ducks do a really nice play, circle the horn back and forth. Vegas finally tires out after, it seemed kind of quick, though. They kind of backed off and then gave them all day to move the puck around, which was great because the Ducks were able to cycle it. And then Richie gets right in front of Fleury, blocks out any daylight, and
that's the key.
Buries this puck. 5-hole. Fleury didn't have it all the way tightened up either, because if he does it's a save, but that was in and out of the net quick there, and the Ducks tie it up.
Yeah, kind of going from the back, to the front. I mean, it literally, that goal goes 5-hole on Fleury, which he's usually, he's a butterfly goalie. So he usually has that on lock for the most part. Just in front of him was Richie blocking out the sun. And I can't tell you as a goalie, that just adds a whole nother layer of difficulty when you have a big body that's in the way like that. The third thing is that sprung shot. It wasn't, top corner. It wasn't left, right. It was dead center, low enough to go 5-hole. It was in the right spot, but it was heavy. So even if Fleury got a piece of that one, that's probably going in, which it did. And the whole thing started all the way back with a nice little cycle, did a lot of east to west on the power play. Oddly enough, that's the Ducks' second power play unit that not only started it, but ended up being able to cash in on that. And so that second power play looks like it's got a lot more click and vitality. I think they started every power play that the Ducks had, all three of them, and they looked more dangerous than the top line for sure.
Well, I mean, when you have Ryan Kessler out there in your top power play unit, really not doing a whole lot, unfortunately. I mean, I've talked about him literally every show, it seems like, and I always preface it with everyone has to understand I loved this guy when he came to the Ducks. This injury has just screwed his career, him missing all that time, rehabilitating.
I would rephrase it. It's
guess
changed the way he has to play now, and now he's no longer the player.
He's one of the worst players in the league for the minutes he's getting. It's
Cogliano,
devastating. It's devastating, man, and it bums me out. It really does. He just is not a great player at this stage in his career anymore. So anyway, him being on the top power play unit is probably not a great idea. Maybe they need to put Sprong there or put someone else on there.
Here's what I would do is I would have Getzlaf. I feel like they have Kessler on that top line to be the face-off guy and let Getzlaf do his roaming thing or let him be that point guy or the facilitator of the puck. I would rather have Getzlaf trying to win face-offs and then and quite honestly, I'd rather have Richie's big ass in front of the goalie. I mean, because that's what Kessler usually does. It's what Eves usually does. Both of those guys are older and injured. Richie, I won't call it a niche, but that's a damn good place for him. And you saw it on that first goal. I'd rather see him maybe on the top line, like Getzlaf, take that power play face off and, then let him rove over to where he needs to be and let Richie kind of get from the wing in front. That'd be my quick solution because I'm such a great power play coach in the NHL.
That's true. You're the Walrus reincarnate here. They need to get you into the NHL.
I do miss the Walrus. You don't miss the Walrus?
Oh, I totally do. Not only do I miss that guy's cuddly face behind the bench, but I also miss how good the special teams were when he was here. Let's get on with this because 18 seconds later, just a beautiful passing play here by Anaheim, breaking into the zone. Gibbons with a great feed to the to Lindholm, who's streaking in. My boy Hampy then takes a rolling puck and slides it ever so carefully but perfectly onto the stick of Carter Rowney, who gets redemption and is able to bury the puck into the empty net, as Fleury is, as the broadcast would say, over aggressive on his plays sometimes. They the net open there. Oh, dude, nonstop. But Carter Rowney's able to bury it. It's third of the season, and the Ducks have a lead, which I think the broadcast said was the first lead the Ducks have had against Vegas all year. So we were all thinking like, oh, hell, this is great. Maybe we have a chance. Maybe we can hold on.
Yeah, I mean, that was that second goal was reminiscent of when the Ducks were good, when they could make those passes and they made them work. And
it
then
looks like a different team right there.
Yeah, just like all of a sudden it's like, two great passes, great patience, and they make the other team look bad. We don't make a lot of other teams look all that bad. Like usually it's a snipe, it's traffic in front, it's a gritty goal. So it was kind of a harken back to the old days where, we kind of picked defenses apart and ended up scoring a goal. So it was really nice and relieving to see and go like, oh man, okay, all right, we got this. We got Vegas. We got shafted on the first goal, but hey, look how quickly we're striking. And it was good, and it was kind of a combination of the fourth line, which I've been nothing but impressed with every time they're out there. they always seem to be doing something. So whether it's Gibbons, Rowney, and then Sherwood out there, it's just I enjoy our fourth line a lot more than I enjoy some of our other lines.
Can we get Sherwood back on the fourth line? I really liked him on the fourth line, the energy guy. He hasn't been all so successul with Ryan Getzlaf, so maybe it's time to shake that part back up, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's only got like 5 goals this season or something like that. But I mean, he's been a bright spot. And like I said, it seems like those fourth line guys. I enjoy watching a little bit more. There's a little bit more effort. There's a little more like, hey, I better get my ass over here and get it happen. I feel like a lot of other people maybe, I don't want to say comfortable, but just like there's no intensity.
They got the guaranteed minutes. They've been there long. They have the tenure.
Yeah, and I hate to throw anyone in that category where they're not trying as hard as they could.
No,
at the same time, it's just I'm just seeing kind of like going through the motions. All right, I should be here. This should happen. All right, I'll move back. All right, I'll come back. Nah, didn't quite happen. And with them, it's like, go get it. Where's the puck? How can I get the puck if I don't have it? And I like that better.
So the Ducks scored 2 very quickly, 18 seconds apart. And then the play was just, oh my God, man. Let me pull an allerism out. Helter Skelter. Take 2 drinks, right? Yeah. Or whatever that is. His allerisms there. But he mentioned that a couple of times at least in this game. There was a lot of wide open parts here. 2-on-1s going back and forth. Great chance by Brandon Montour, but I think it was blocked by England or Fleury in tight on a play.
No, it was either England or it was McNabb. I can't remember.
One of the two in front of the net.
It was the defenseman definitely got it, not Fleury, because that one was that close to making it just a game where we really could have had it.
3-1. That would have been it right there.
Or it's Aller said pond hockey. That was the other thing he said.
And then Kournianos deflects one off the post. He gets a nice little tip on a point shot, goes off the post. That poor guy can't fly a goal.
That's what they said, and that's what I'd agree with.
Just brutal. Oh, they said that? Yeah.
They say you just can't buy a goal. Or snake bitten, I think is what they call it. It's just they just can't buy one right now. Even testing him quickly at the top line, just trying to, hey, maybe we'll have a speed guy in Auberg and Cogliano with Getzlaf, see where that goes. And it's just nothing doing. The Ducks are struggling hard.
So then Vegas comes back and gets a goal here. They actually get a pair of goals in 31 seconds. Former Duck Nosek is able to. Is it Nosek or was it Nason? I don't think Nosek's a former.
Nason
Duck.
Was a Ducks one.
Not Nosek. I screwed that up. Thomas Nosek buries the puck. It's a rebound in front. Ducks can't clear the puck for the life of them in this shift again. Gets cycled around, goes to the point, comes back down. The shot hits Walensky, so Gibby doesn't get any read on the shot. Again, he's planted, ready for the save. And then Nosek falling all in one motion is able to tap into an empty net. I mean, that's just the way it's going to go.
Yeah, that one blew, and that one blows for goalies. That shot comes, and, for the most part, Gibby has a decent enough look at it. He's got a little bit of that screen in front. He loses it probably just before it's about to hit him. And as a goalie, if you kind of see where the puck is going, you move to that direction, and either you pick it up really late and you know where it is, and if you don't see it because it happens right in front of you and sometimes you will lose it, you wait for it to hit you, or it hits the post, or it hits the glass behind you or board. You're waiting for some sort of tell. You'll even read the players in front of you where they start quickly reacting, and you just go to wherever they seem to be going. And it happens so quick that it hits the guy in front. He never feels it, never hears anything, goes up and over his head on the other side. Walensky at the same time is trying to stop Nuskin, who ends up, pronounce his name wrong, I'm sure, who ends up going, falling, gets to that right where the puck drops, bats it in, and Gibby is actually quick to respond where, like, boom, like, oh, there it is. I heard it hit, but it's right as he's smacking it in. It sucks. It's a bad play for a goalie. You can't do much on it. If you don't feel it, you don't hear it, you don't see it at the last second, you're waiting for some sort of tell to happen, and you're hoping it's not the puck right behind you, which is kind of where it was.
And then Jason's favorite play of the game was a blown 2-on-1 by Josh Manson. He doesn't decide to the last second as Stastny and Patches are flying in. He gives Stastny all the time in the world to come in and walk in close on Gibby. to maybe force the shot. And then when Stastny kind of holds up on the shot, he goes to play him. And at that exact moment is when he makes the perfect pass. And Pacioretty's able to tap that into a wide open net. And he burns the Ducks. And now all of a sudden we have a tie game.
Yeah, you call it my favorite play because this is the problem.
They take the lead. My bad. Not a tie game.
Yeah, they take the lead 3-2. This has been something I've noticed recently, but I think it's a bigger problem. I know that Lindholm also has this problem from time to time, and Manson had this problem in this particular play. They don't really know how to defend a 2-on-1, and I can simplify it.
I don't believe that for 1 second. We could argue this all day. They're professionals. They're not.
We could. They're professionals. They know better than me. I don't play defense. I play goaltending, but I'll tell you what every goaltender will tell you what to do. On a 2-on-1, let me take the shooter. If the shooter beats me, that's on me. I will never blame my defenseman for that guy beating me. But my focus has to be that. If I've got to now focus on this guy over here because I don't think you can stop a pass, even if I'm looking at this guy, my mind is this guy is a threat now because my guy will not stop that pass. And now easy shots beat me. So the more times these passes get through defenders, because at the last second, Josh Manson goes, I want to go get the puck now, and then leaves the guy wide open for a tap in. Look, Gibby doesn't even make an effort to go back. He's so locked in on the shooter, and this guy is so good at stopping initial shots. Let him stop it. Give him some credit to actually make that stop. After the shot happens, then go after that guy, tie him up, do whatever you got to do. But your job as a defenseman is to make sure that pass doesn't get across, because now the goalie has to try and jump across, opens wide up, and whatever position lock he had on an initial shooter, now it's wide open and a guessing game. You've got to be able to defend that 2-on-1. I've seen it too many times, at least recently, that it just makes me go, I can understand why Gibson's just pissed and he doesn't try, and he looks pissed off. I mean,
if you want to talk about the one with Lindholm, it was against Kucherov, and his stick narrowly missed the pass going across. I mean, dude, he was defending right down the middle and forced the guy to make either shoot or pass, and the pass got over his stick. Happens.
Just can't let that. I mean, it's 2-on-1s. You're at a disadvantage. I completely understand.
Yeah, but you also can't let the shooter just walk in and deke on your goalie either. You have to play a gap.
That's where there's two guys, and yes, a defender, when they're coming back, has to look left, right, figure out that gap. He's got to be as close to center between both of those as possible. You cannot go all the way to the pass and let that guy walk in, because you're essentially saying, well, here's a breakaway from this side of things. I'm going to let you walk it. You've got to be able to go, I'm going to take, if you come in, I'm taking you out. If you make that pass, but you got to be in there. You get wide with your skates and you just anticipate a pass. Your thought is no pass is getting through. If this guy seems to abandon all pass, then I'll go to him. Now, there's tricky guys that kind of give you false readings, and maybe that's what happened with Manson, and maybe that can happen with Lindholm. I've seen it too often where they get fooled, and I feel like if your mind is this pass will not get through, but I'm not giving him a clear walk to the front of the net, I'm going to let our goalie block this shot. If he puts it up top corner, that's a great shot, and Gibby's not going to be mad at me for it. That's the way
we'll bury this here.
Okay.
No need to talk about a 2-on-1.
Because I nailed it.
Yeah. The Ducks, at the end of the second period, end up getting, for some reason, pinned in their zone, which felt like an eternity to wrap it up. They said Lindholm played over 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Getzlaf damn near the same amount to end it. Neither one of them had legs, barely to get off the ice. So just an awful second half to the second period. And honestly, that was the game, because the Ducks just couldn't break through again. And we can start this here in the third period. And you can just, honestly, man, Fleury had to be good in the third period. He made some quality stops.
Not at the beginning.
No, but he did make quality stops.
That one in the beginning hit like the board and had a weird bounce, like right up.
Yeah, it happened.
Once again, Kournianos is like that far away from just like, oh, there's my stick. Oh, there's a goal. And then all of a sudden momentum just swings back the other way.
I mean, Gibby had to make a good save too, locks the pads, does a little stack to keep it out. So that came close again to letting in a fourth goal. But the Ducks are getting chances. Rowney and Ritchie both with grade A chances. The Ducks' second power play unit again, moving the puck around and getting some chances in on on Fleury, but they're unable to do it. Now we got to talk about a penalty that happened. There's a few that happened in this third period, or a couple that happened in this period that
God,
I just
yes.
I mean, I don't know, man. So I want to say, let me see to get this right, because the penalties that happened in the third period were first John Merrill gets a delay of game for nudging the net off. He gets a little shoulder motion when he was.
I didn't like that penalty. Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
And Merrill was pissed.
Right.
And then about 4 minutes later, the Ducks are in the face-off. Adam Henrique's in the face-off circle.
Yeah.
Jumps the gun. I guess got warned. Jumped the gun again. And then gets a face-off violation. And I don't know. That's a referee discretion call. I had somebody ask me, like, what's the difference between getting 2 minutes or just getting tossed out of the circle and replaced? I'm like, honestly, man, I don't know. I don't think they toss you out. I think you just switch. Maybe. Do you know the answer?
Yeah. Well, mostly if there's an encroachment, they usually will toss the center out of there. So it's the second one that ends up, if you do twice in the same setting, it's kind of like it's a delay of game penalty, essentially, is what they're doing.
Which is what he got.
Yeah, and that what they're doing is, back in the day, especially when you used to ice it, they would, bring it back, and if the guy was tired, he'd keep jumping the gun, give his wingers, defenseman, just that much more, and he'd jump the gun like 3-4 times, and then eventually you'd have the face-off. But it was that little bit that gave you a little bit more time, and so in an effort to have more goal scoring, usually the more tired you are, the more likely the other team's going to score on you. So they kind of made this rule that if you do it twice and we don't have a face-off quickly afterwards to try and move the game along, then they end up giving you that delay of game. Now, I didn't see the first one. I just saw the second one. And the second one was kind of odd to me that they even kind of blew it dead as a second one, because it's kind of like he had the puck, kind of wanted to drop it, but then just kind of like delayed half a second. And then that's when Henrique's like, all right, let's go. And then that was the one, and then they gave him a penalty for it. So I didn't really agree with it either, because either just drop it or go or whatever it is. That I'm not 100% sure why, but once again, it's one of those referee discretion things, and their discretion this whole game was just, it blew me away. I was trying to figure out how they were calling things, as far as the making their own judgment call. Their judgment seemed off to me today.
Yeah, and then less than, I was actually 31 seconds later, Ryan Kessler's in the faceoff circle. Cody Eakin's in the faceoff circle. And look, I get it. No one likes Ryan Kessler outside Ducks fans and players on the Ducks roster. And Cody Eakin's kind of a pest too. And he's been a thorn of the Ducks side since his days in Dallas. And Ginger.
Yeah.
That's your problem. I have no problem with Gingers.
Some of my best friends are Gingers.
I don't mind Kessler being rough and all that, but when you're down a goal and you're on the penalty kill, why give the guy the face wash, shove in the face, like the full across the head? I get it, and most of the time referees don't call a penalty. It has to be an egregious call in order for them to make the raise their hand and put you down 5-on-3. But apparently his glove or his stick clips Eakin's lip, causes his lip to bleed. And now it's an effing double minor for roughing at this point. And that was
I think they called that a high stick. They called it a high stick.
They did call it a high stick.
But I don't think it was a high stick. I think he hit him.
It was his hand.
It was his hand, and I can understand a roughing maybe. But at the same time, Eakins kind of went in with his helmet, and that's what I think maybe. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to probably piss off Kessler. And maybe should have let that one go. But at the same time, he's kind of getting run in. He's like, get the hell out of here. Kind of pushes him, catches him. And then Eakins does the head thing, falls to the ground. And then he has a cut lip. And now the ref thinks it's a high stick somewhere in there. I have no idea. Once again, that discretionary judgment on the referees just seemed odd, a little off. Maybe you give them a rough if you're really wanting to stick it to them. But even that's a marginal call. But then to make it a high stick that didn't happen and make it a double minor because the little dude got cut on his lip. It sucks. But about the only good thing is that Vegas right now, the one thing they're not good at is their power play.
Oh, their power play was terrible. They had a couple of chances, but Gibby ate them up all day.
Yeah.
And the penalty kill actually did a pretty good job keeping the passes from crossing, across that crease and in the slot area. So
90 seconds up, 5-on-3, and the Ducks are able to kill it. It helps when Gibby's got over a 94 save percentage shorthanded.
Oh, it's ridiculous. They said
That's
it's top
insanity.
of the league. I'd love to verify that. I didn't have time, but I trust the broadcast a little.
That's what the broadcast did.
That's okay.
He was close to it earlier, so.
The Ducks, just to wrap this game up here, because it's a loss, I don't want to stick too much time, but the refs did spend a lot of their time making it their game, so we had to talk about that. About 2 chances left, I would feel like. Getzlaf with a beautiful setup to Jakob Silfverberg on the side of the net. He's at a tough angle, and the puck,
it's like at the heel of his stick. It wasn't in his wheelhouse. It was going to be hard unless it was right on the tape in the sweet spot, because Fleury's quick enough to get over there. So, he's got to lift it. He's at a tight angle. It's a quick play. And it just, unfortunately, that puck was probably not in the best of spots, but by inches again.
Shanks it off the heel of his stick, man. That was a tough one. And then the other one was Kasha, backhand. Looks like he was going to do a roof job there on Fleury. It hits McNabb's stick, the shaft, and it flutters well over the crossbar.
Damn.
And that's all she wrote, man.
Got
a couple chances with the goalie pulled. Walensky got real nervous, I guess, when they wanted to draw back clean. He just rips a slap shot with an empty net right on Fleury, right in the chest. Like, there was no traffic, nothing. You could tell he was like, I got to get a shot on net. And
just something. At that point, you had to. It was just hope for the best and see what happens. Because, what's he going to do? Set up a game-winning 8-pass play? No.
Oh, he's just got to wait for traffic to come in. That's tough. But
it's a rough
can't
one.
put too much on him on that. The Ducks ended up falling here, as everyone here knows. 3-2 was a final, 42-27 shots in favor of Vegas, of course, because the Ducks would love to surrender. I think they said it was their 10th or 11th time this season they've surrendered 40 shots on net. So not a good look for Anaheim in this game.
Nah, but Vegas does that. They've also they have quite a few games where they have 40 or plus shots on net. So
you're looking at the high danger chances. Vegas doubled them up 22-11. So Vegas, held the wealth essentially of high danger chances. Even when the Ducks outshot them in the third, Vegas had more chances in tight on Gibson. So just a tough go for Anaheim. But
full synopsis for you. Full synopsis. Well, what is your takeaway from this game? Did you think
John
the
Gibson's
Ducks
amazing, should win a Vezina? Because that's why they got close to this game to begin with.
Well, that's been a build up till this. But I felt like the Ducks played probably their best game against Vegas today than they have in the past. There's still the lulls. There's still, they kind of got gypped on quite a few plays. And once again, you can count posts or near goals as, that much closer. So I felt the Ducks were a lot better than maybe them losing to Vegas.
Wow, you hit the post. What the
wow.
You're the CEO.
Yeah. We should get him out here. Real motivator, that one.
So, unfortunately, it's kind of the way it's just gone for the Ducks here. And no more #fire Carlisle. We all know he's in here for the long haul to the end of his contract. And it's been stated by news outlets that he's got a job in the organization after his contract's up. They probably might even offer him another contract. Who knows?
Where would you put him? Because I can't imagine head coach unless Stanley
Scouts. He's going to be a scout or some assistant to here or there. But I don't think he's going to coach. I think he's done after this, and he's going to get an office job. Is he going
to be? This is going to be head scout of grit.
Of grit, yeah.
Grit and determination.
Grittership.
Leadership. Yeah. We got to outwork the other team.
So we had some questions here that I think we should get to before we move on to any of our post-game comments or topics that we'd like to talk about. So let me bring those up here. Let me get them up onto the screen.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm opening a Foster's.
For our Australian audience?
Yes, our one Australian fan. So, and I also open it for Jimmy because he hates the fact that I drink beer that he doesn't approve of. And I know he won't approve of this.
Jimmy doesn't approve of Coors Light either, but I would have to say I do enjoy it every once in a while. So,
you dabble.
Steffi Mazzi on Twitter says, what are your thoughts on Sprong starting on the first line with Aberg being bumped to the fourth line? Is this something that'll continue? I mean, yeah, that's Sherwood taking the slot there. And honestly, Aberg, maybe, I mean, he scores in bunches, and he's a real streaky guy. So maybe there's some underlying reason why he did that. But I'm not a fan of Kiefer Sherwood on the top line. He doesn't have hands to finish at this level. And honestly, we don't need a guy who's speedy on the top line. We need a guy who can get the puck and score. And Andre Kasha is speedy and can do that. So if you're going to move anyone to the top line and bump Aberg down, why not Kasha, in my opinion?
Yeah, I mean, as far as jumping the lines around, I feel that's Carlisle's thing. If things aren't working, he's going to try and see what ends.
Remember the line blender everyone called it?
Yeah, and Carlisle's like that. He goes off of gut instinct and what he thinks might end up working. Just based on the game that he's seen. So he's not married to every line all the time. Fortunately, he doesn't have a whole lot of extra cogs that are going to really help different lines out. He's with injuries, you're just pulling at what might work and might not work. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Not that I don't think Sherwood may not eventually be somebody that could play higher up than fourth line. At this point, yeah, I mean, he's great in the role of the fourth line, and I'd rather have somebody with Sprong's finish, Aberg's finish, something like that to maybe plug in there. It may not be every game, but every so often, because at this point, they kind of solidified that second and third line, because I think Henrique, Kasha, and Richie seem to be that second line, and in my opinion. And then the third line is really Cog, Silverberg, and Kessler, and then it's Getzlaf, and you name the winger. It's just the one that seems to maybe have a little bit more step, a little bit more chemistry that particular game, and then ride it as long as it can. Right now, Getzlaf's just kind of a man looking for her partner.
Yeah, honestly, and I got to give him some credit for not taking Kasha off that line. I mean, Kasha and Richie have been playing really well together. Same with Henrique, so that's tough. But yeah, I don't think Sherwood needs to be in the top line. I would rather them have someone with a touch of Aberg on top. This is a funny one, so I'll say it real quick. We can laugh and move on. But Jacob loves to chime in here about Corey Perry. He says, how many goals over 50 does Perry score when he comes back? And is that enough for the Hart? It damn well better be if he does come back in March and is able to score 50 goals in like 12 games.
Well, let's put it this way. I'd be impressed if he gets over 50 goals in his next 3 seasons.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, almost, I guess that's to finish his career with Anaheim. I don't know if he'll get over 50 goals in the next 2.5 seasons.
We'll see how he is.
But if he did do it, then yes, he deserves the Hart. And the Memorial was a Ted Lindsay Award for Memorial coming back, and then just
it's the Ted Lindsay Award. I think the players vote for him, and then he would get the Hart.
He would have to if he came back in February or March. And
it was a joke.
Had 50 plus goals. No, this is serious. I take all questions
just for you.
Of seriousness.
So, and then Christopher asks, what's the issue with the total team defense? We're only a few years removed from having one of the best team D in the league. Is it a D core not performing to the level they should be, or is our forward core the issue? I would say this season's a mix of both. The forwards are not playing well on their own end. We saw many times at the beginning of the year where they were not dropping in and covering the high slot. There were so many chances being let up because of that. It's slowed down a little bit, but I would still say we have a solid top 4 here, and it's been kind of a bummer with Cam gone. I would still like to see them switch up the pairings and go back to what worked last year towards the end. Montour and Cam Fowler, Manson and Lindholm together, see what works. Randy Carlyle, for as much as he likes to blend this forward line group, doesn't like touching the top 4 defensemen. Just leaves them as is, and that's what we get. We get Manson and Larson, and you get Lindholm and Montour. When Fowler comes back, it'll be interesting to see, but honestly, it's just going to be Lindholm and Montour and Manson and Fowler. It's just going to go back to the way it was. But what's your take on it? I really kind of feel it's a mix of both this year.
Yeah, he says that we had, one of the top defenses just a few seasons ago. I'm trying to think of when we had a really top defense. I guess that's when what Freddie and Gibby.
That was probably when Brucey was around, right?
Yeah, Brucey. So it's a little bit different now. Go figure. With Carlisle being a defensive player and defensive guru, I guess. You would think that their defensive woes would be a little bit better, but I 100% agree with you. It's not all on the defense. Injuries have been there, but the forward injuries, the young people that they bring in, this is what happens when you bring in a younger team that's a little bit less experienced. There's defensive lapses, there's losses in coverage, and that ends up creating the 2-on-1s, the 3-on-1s, the penalties, the penalty kills, where you're asking Gibby to save goals.
To the All-Star game, I think he's co-leading the AHL in rookie scoring. He had 2 goals tonight in a goals win, so he's killing it. How do you feel? I think Troy Terry's fine with the goals for now.
Yeah, I think so too. He had a chance last season a little bit, looked a little out of place, smallish. I mean, that's what's going to happen when you're coming from the university NCAA level at Denver. He came in, kind of got bumped around in a few games, especially games against the Sharks and things like that. I noticed he looked like a youngin with a bunch of professionals, and unfortunately he didn't have the top end speed or skill that's going to translate past that. This season at the top level, he got to play on the top line with Getzlaf. It really didn't translate for him. Not that he wasn't involved, he wasn't trying. It just he needs the seasoning, and it's really tough to understand that because the NHL is so young and quick and fast. But these guys are young, they're teenagers. There's going to be a learning curve. And he's not going to play top line minutes if he comes on. So what are you going to do? Put him on the 4th line? The only place you can put him is the top line. And he showed in the beginning part of the season, he's just not quite at that level just yet. Give him this season. Let him work it out. He's an all-star down there. Get it going. Gain some mass. I think that will help him to make the top club, next season. But it's one you kind of just let him slide for right now.
And then we had a couple of questions here to wrap up on Twitter. We kind of talked about here, so we can just be brief on it. Why is Kessler on the top power play? I don't know.
I think we already talked about this.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. A couple things already kind of covered. And then when will the team start defending the pass on 2-on-1? So you got some Mike over here with a comment that Jason's a fan of, and then it was Peter that had the question about the Kessler on the power play. Let me bring up our couple of questions here we had on Instagram. Pop those up. Let's see. Okay. Canadian girl says, how long till we wake up? Holy hell. Hopefully soon. Hopefully very, very soon. I think Sunday against the Oilers is a good time. That's a team that's very beatable. They're not playing well at all. The planet hasn't served them well. So at least as well as they hoped he did in the beginning, and then they've totally kind of teetered off.
There was no hope for that team. Unfortunately, we called this in the beginning. There's besides McJesus and Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins, there's not much there. So for them at least for us, I don't know. This has been the problem that we've had. Is inconsistency. The only solace I can maybe take in is that the Ducks are kind of in the exact same spot they were last year, and they still were able to make a run to the playoffs despite having Vegas way up there. The Pacific is still open. It's still open enough. That doesn't make me all that confident that even if we get to the playoffs that we'll have any sort of success, because I don't think so the way the team's currently playing. I think hopefully if we start getting players back that aren't going to make the same little defensive mistakes here and there, the team maybe gets a little bit of cohesiveness, because at this point, I don't know. There's not a really good answer. There's just inconsistency, game in, game out, shift in, shift out. So it's I can't clap or applaud the greatness. I can't dwell too hard on the failures, but there just seems more failures right now than there does success.
So Canadian girl follows it up. Do you think the Ducks beat the Oilers on Sunday? You'll be there, so hopefully.
I won't be there.
Oh, I thought you were going to the game on Sunday, no?
No, I wish.
Did they beat the Oilers or no?
Yes.
Yeah, they have to. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, because the Oilers are a hot mess. Then the Ducks are this close. And we didn't play a bad game. We lost. It sucks, but we're that close. We're getting the chances. I don't see any reason other than McJesus himself ruining it for the Ducks.
So Sierra has 3 questions. That'll wrap up our questions for the night. She asks, which rookie do you think is sent down once Cam Fowler is back? It's most likely between Mahura and Walensky, and I think it's going to be and Larson could be a possibility, but I don't think so. I think he's earned his keep. I think you're going to see Mahura sent down.
I think Walensky. I don't know why. Either one. I mean, it's probably between those two, Mahura and Walensky. And you pick your poison, I guess. Who do you think develops more? I guess Mahura would be more the one you want to put down just to give him a little bit more of that development because he's a little bit closer and he get top line minutes, I guess, as a defenseman.
Then another question she has here is with Patrick Eaves practicing, where does he fit in the lineup when he comes back? That's a question that's tough because if he comes back, I think is more or less the answer here. We haven't really had a timeline on him. We've heard more updates from Cam Fowler, who had broken facial bones. And we had basically, Raquel with that it had to have been a high ankle sprain or just a really bad sprain. And he's been out 12 games. And we've heard he's going to be coming back soon. So I'm not sure if Eaves is coming back this season, which would be super unfortunate. And I hope he does.
Well, they were talking about, he was out there today.
We'll see.
No, that's what they were saying.
No. I'm saying we'll see if he comes back. And if he goes into the lineup, they're going to give him the slot next to Getzlaf. That's just what they're going to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, he goes top line. It'd be weird. Maybe they limit, so like maybe they double shift somebody else and maybe kind of ease him into it.
Most likely.
Because the dude's played like a handful of games over the last 2 seasons.
Brutal.
3 seasons. So they might ease him into it, but ultimately there's no other place you'd put him, short unless he develops chemistry on some other line somewhere. But he had such great chemistry. The only reason they signed him for 3 years was because of how well he played with Getzlaf and how well he played in front of the net. So once again, that's tough minutes. And he came back from an injury earlier on in the season, didn't look great. And the one game he looked great, that's when he got injured again and then was out. So,
whatever happened to him. And to wrap up the questions here, we have a little bit of post-game content we got to get to for sure. We're running almost a little long, but the question here is a loaded one. Maybe, because there's a lot of possibilities you could pick from. But what do you think the Ducks do at the trade deadline? I would say, Jason, that they don't do anything because Bob Murray has said,
"Come on, go out, do something bold. Do something bold,
nothing.
Pat."
Nothing. Here's why he's not going to do anything. As he said it, he only makes the good moves, the big moves. If he feels they're close to getting over the hump, it's when he gives away assets. He's not going to give away assets here because the way this season's shaping up, if they make the playoffs, which is an if, it's looking like a first-round exit, unless there's a miracle and the Ducks get their shit together. Bobby's not going to do anything crazy. He's not going to flash the headlines here and go ask the hot girl out at the bar and bring her to Anaheim and whatever hot commodity is
Starbucks.
Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't see Bobby doing anything other than maybe doing a minor trade, but nothing of significance here for Anaheim.
The Ducks never do anything of significance at the trade deadline. Bob Murray is notorious for saying how he will never ever trade assets for a rental player. And the only way the Ducks do anything is if they think they have, like you said, a legitimate chance at making a push and they need one more thing. And even if they did that, Bob Murray's notorious for not going out for the big guy. He's going to go out for Sprong. He's going to go out for Aberg. He's going to go out for something that's just off market, off to the side where everyone's looking at blue chip stock markets. He's finding the penny stocks over here that hit big. That's what he's looking for. That's his MO. He's not going to mortgage anything off on this season. He's already got if you want to put it this way, he's already got a built-in out. I got you, Sprung. I got you, Aberg. I floated the boat while we had all these injuries. Now it's just all these injuries or something else, or the coach was bad.
Here's the classic.
And now we got another coach coming in.
Getting Corey Perry back. That's like
that's
like getting a top end player back if he's healthy.
Yeah, right. All right. That's
getting Ricard Raquel back.
It's a scoring punch right there.
You're gonna get the injection right there into the team. Honestly, if they were in the same position as, let's say, Calgary or San Jose, rather, you're gonna go out and grab someone. Most likely, San Jose's been up and down all year, haven't been ultra consistent, but they have that chance. They haven't put it together yet. I still think they're going to. They can score goals, but they also have been hemorrhaging goals this season. So we'll see how they go. But I mean, if I'm San Jose, I'm going to make a move to add if there's room to add.
Well, if you're in San Jose, you're in a different position because you totally would do that because you don't have Carlson after this season. There's no guarantee, at least.
Right. And we'll see if he's
it's like, hey, listen, we already put a lot of eggs.
I would trade Carlson for a boatload of riches if there's a possibility. His worth isn't there right now. He hasn't put up the numbers. But anyway, I was just referencing that because the Ducks, they're not in that position, and I don't foresee any major moves. Just some light topics to talk about here. We already mentioned World Juniors updates.
USA. Wait, where's Eddie? I thought he was going to say Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Is he still crying?
I don't know, man. At least he's not blaming Maxime Comtois, which is what I want to talk about here. Captain Canada, 19-year-old Ducks prospect, just brutalized on his social media, on his Instagram, all over Twitter. Everyone was talking about it. Horrendous, egregious, unacceptable things being said. These keyboard warriors, the internet's a beautiful thing, okay? I'll rant here just for a second. It's a beautiful thing. It's opened up knowledge to people who've never had it. You're able to meet people you've never met before and connect with people, all these great things. It also is a cesspool of dog shit. And that's the part that happens here. All these people who create accounts with no followers and no posts just so they could go on someone's Instagram or Twitter and blow them up and say horrible things about him, horrible things about his girlfriend. I mean, unbelievable things are being said about he and his girlfriend on there, and about his patriotism to Canada and how he should have never taken the penalty shot and he's a bag of shit, and just on and on and on and on. If you're that guy and you're listening to our podcast, stop. I don't want you a fan. Unfollow me, because I will never support anything like that. I don't care, man. That stuff is so gross. The cyberbullying that goes on online is horrible, and they put out a statement saying that he wanted to put out a statement saying, like, this is ridiculous. Like, why does anybody have to go through this? I don't get it, man. Full-grown men, all the way down to teenagers, just think it's hilarious, or just to say something horrible over a guy because he missed a penalty shot and he was, quote-unquote, diving off and on, which we talked about on the show. And I was like, whatever, he's a kid. The greatest Canadian hockey player of his generation, Sidney Crosby, dove a lot. He got so much crap and got made fun of for everything in the book. And yet he wins Canada, the gold medal in the Olympics. He goes off and wins he goes off and brings Stanley Cups home to Canada. He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And, he dives. Everyone dives in the league at some point, most of the time, right? You see it happen all over the time. Not every guy, but a lot of guys dive.
I don't do it.
I think it's ridiculous, man. I don't understand it at all. And I'm glad that it was brought to light here because it's just wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna build on top of that and just say absolutely, 100% agree. And I feel, like you said, I mean, there's a lot of things on social media or different platforms where the internet's giving everyone a voice and everyone thinks that their opinion's worth something, but a lot of people end up kind of going down the dark road where they feel like, I'm just going to be mad so I can just say these things and, no consequence. At least I got it out. Keep in your damn head, or tell it to your friend over there or something like that. When you go and you find where that person is, where someone's going to look, and you're that mean to that person over something that's just a fucking game, grow the hell up. Grow the hell up, and B, on top of that, it's just, I mean, it's sad for hockey in general. Even if we're not Canadian, obviously, But just to see that, it's disheartening to see how sad people can actually be when they just want to be upset about something. It's like, you know what? Deal with it. If you're upset, just go deal with it in your own way. You don't have to just bag on a 19-year-old kid and make yourself feel better. I don't understand it either. So
and he played the whole tournament with a separated shoulder.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I would
out 2 weeks.
Called him all the things I said.
So on top of his level of play, which by many people's standards, he was one of the better players on the Canadian team.
I think
he was playing with a separated shoulder
tournament, right?
Something like that, or he got recognized as one of the top players.
He was the best player on Canada for the tournament.
So it was despicable. I had to comment on that. It drove me nuts, man. And then let's get to some happy things. We'll end it on a happy note. We got to talk about John Gibson. I've been trying for months, people, to get my friends to understand how good John Gibson is in our group chat. And there's always, backlash on how he's not better than Vasilevsky. He's close. He's this. He's not Pecorine. He's close. Bobrovsky's this and that. Gibson gets called to the All-Star game, everybody, and he's probably the only one, or is the only one, that deserves any sort of respect and call from this Ducks roster, short of maybe Ryan Getzlaf.
Yeah. 100% agree. We even saw a game today with goalies from the All-Star game. So both goalies with Fleury and Gibson, but Gibson is that next level goalie. This is where the Ducks thought he would be. This is where I thought he would be. So all the haters that said, oh, we should have got rid of him and not Anderson. This is the guy. He's been touted this way since he's been 16, and he's in his mid-20s now. And it's something we've seen forever building up to this. Yeah, he's had his little bit of injuries. Matt Murray's had injuries. Goalies get injuries. It's going to happen. Players get injuries. There's not very many Iron Man goalies that happen out there in the NHL anymore. So it's going to happen. He's done an amazing job. He does. How to describe John Gibson? The one thing I've noticed he does a little bit differently this year is he kind of lifts his leg up on those in-tight plays. But that aside, a little bit of a tangent for me, but he's the top. There's him, there's Vasilevsky, and then you can throw in a handful of other goalies every now and again, but there's no one with very much consistency other than, I would say, Vasilevsky and Gibson. Pekarine's been very
the best.
Yeah, Pekarine's been very good, but that's just been of late in his career, and he's also on a great team. And I would say Vasilevsky's on a great team, and I'd say Gibson is not on a great team, especially defensively, and he's well ahead of the rest of those guys. Once again, put Gibby in on those other teams, and then all you do is just talk about Gibson being a Vezina Trophy winner. But those guys on the Ducks team, you're going like, well, he's good, but he doesn't have the wins, or he doesn't have the shutouts. So
I love that. Yeah,
Gibby's not going to get the shutouts. He's not going to get the wins. But does he have a good save percentage? Does he have a high danger good save percentage? Does he save goals that should never have gone in? I mean, he's touching all of those. And
all analytics point to yes. All the stat nerds love it.
He's like that high. He's
way
much
above
better
everybody
than
else.
everybody.
And then Getzlaf did get kind of the nod, right? He gets put on the list for last man.
Everybody
voted
does,
in.
but...
Everyone gets a last man player voted in for the chance to represent because there's 4 All-Star teams, right? 1 for each division. So Getzlaf has a chance to be voted in for the Pacific Division. I highly doubt he gets in, just because it's just not going to happen.
There's Draisaitl. There's
most likely not.
Carlson still out there? I don't know.
Well, anyways. We'll see who gets in there. But congratulations to John Gibson making it to the All-Star game.
Well
and
deserved.
Hopefully he doesn't decide to take the days off, which, people might say he should to get the rest like Ovi did. I don't blame Ovi. If Ovi's going through a cup hangover, dude's got 30 goals.
Yeah.
And guys drinking Dr. Pepper on the bench and eating pasta every night and all those stories you hear about that guy.
He's my favorite.
That's it for us, everybody. We hope the Ducks get healthy and better, and we see a much better, more energized team for 60 minutes coming up this Sunday against Edmonton. And we'll talk to you guys on Sunday night. Have a great one.
Well, do we want to talk about the watch party? Watch party
turned off because I'm an idiot and forgot about that party.
Sorry, everyone, turn back on. Turn it on. All right, they're back.
January 13th, we'll be at Lamppost Pizza in Yorba Linda, West Yorba Linda. It's where we've had all of our parties have been there. Our most recent one was against the Golden Knights, right? Yeah. And that one didn't all that great for the Ducks either. Nope. But it was fun. We had a great time with everyone. Gave away some cool stuff. Paid Jimmy's bill, so that was fun. And
no, it was not.
We're giving away some things here on the 13th as well. I know it's an afternoon game and it's on Sunday, but we hope to see you guys out there. It's all over our social media. Go check it out. And shoot, man, another shout out to coolhockey.com. That's the other thing I want to wrap up here with that. We just started our Forever Mighty 3 stars for the month of January. And go in there, make your guesses because you can win a free jersey. Go to Cool Hockey.
Jersey.
Any jersey.
Yeah.
Even one of these bad boys. You can win one of those. And
so pretty.
Customize it. You can do whatever you want to it. And the jersey, that's exactly what you get. You can get a customized one there from coolhockey.com. You can win it from us free. Or you can go there and buy one and use our promo code 20. Save yourself a couple bucks. 20% is a good chunk of change when you're buying a $200 jersey. So go ahead and check them out as well. And we'll have our bonus shows for you Patreon listeners. We're doing one upcoming on Monday. I think we should do it live. So we should do it live.
Ooh, okay.
We should do it. Well, I'll discuss with the boys.
Do it live. Do it live.
Do it live. Going all Bill Riley on you there.
Yeah.
But all right, everybody, that's it. It's 11:30 just about. We'll tune out here, and we'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Have a great one.
Thanks for ruining my show, by the way. That's it. I'm sorry you guys had to sit through that, but this is an obligation, contract obligation, they told me. So my kneecaps are sweating, and I really got to go to the bathroom. So I'm going to have to let you guys go. Thank you. Bye.